Welcome back to Exploring Chiropractic. I'm Nathan Cashin, and in this episode, we're talking with students from New York College of Chiropractic. Before we get started, I want to remind you this is a YouTube video, but it's also available on iTunes. So search iTunes or any other podcast source for Exploring Chiropractic, and you can take the audio with you. I'm excited to reintroduce from New York, Brendan Mccann, who's joined us on the podcast before. How you doing?
Thanks for having me again, Nathan.
Good. So you're now in eighth try.
Eighth try, that's right. Eighth try out of 10. So I'll graduate later this year.
Oh my gosh! When do you graduate? What month?
December 5th.
December. Okay, that's when most of my group are graduating, but I've taken a split, which means I take just one more quarter to take an easier load.
You're
so
a sane man.
Won't be graduated till March, unfortunately. Also joining us to give us a bit of a fresher perspective, also from New York, is Seth. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
You just got out of physiology?
Yeah, this morning it was anatomy with a quick quiz this morning at 8 a.m. and then 3 hours of systems physiology.
Oy.
That's a busy Friday.
Yes, it is. It makes for quite the Friday morning to wake up to.
Now you're just in second try, so you've just begun.
Yeah, I started, so that would have been September of last year, and just started second try, so moving along and counting down the days.
So how did you choose New York?
For me, I actually came from an area in central Massachusetts where I grew up, and I knew 4 chiropractors that actually turns out all went here to New York Chiropractic College. It was far enough away to be happy without being so far away that I could never go home, and good curriculum, good people, and again, just kind of proximity helped out for sure.
Yeah. Definitely one of the more common reasons that people choose a school is proximity. Yeah. And I was listening to, have you guys come across the Chiropractic Philanthropist podcast?
No.
I actually just saw it make an appearance a couple days ago, but I haven't gotten into it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He is killing it. He's had I think by now, over 60,000 downloads, which dwarfs my podcast, of course. But he was recently interviewing the president of Sherman College of Chiropractic, and that was the thing that the president was saying was, don't just pick it on location. There's so many other things to consider, but everybody picks it on location.
Normally, I'm a traveler, and I wouldn't really care where I ended up, but in this particular case, it just worked out well.
Now, would New York be the closest one to you, or are the other ones up National or Northwestern, or would they be any closer to you?
No, I'm definitely New York is the closest. Yeah. It's about a 5-hour drive.
All right. Okay. So how's school going? What's the experience been like for you so far?
I absolutely love it. I'm coming in having a break from undergrad, which I think was absolutely necessary. Got out, saw the real world a little bit, and was able to get some working experience and really kind of culminate a lot of the things that I did through my undergrad and working to find this as the absolute best outlet for me to have.
How long did you work?
A couple years.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, I did as well. I took a job for 2 years, completely different field, education, technology related, which is why I do stuff like this. Do you want to share what you did?
I was working as, I'm an EMT, and so I got a job in an MD office, kind of as a medical assistant. I knew the doctor in primary care, and in that time, I was kind of like, I love the medical field, definitely want to be here, but I also became a trainer and was working in a gym and really, really enjoyed working with both athletes, people who are deconditioned, and we had a physical therapy office in the gym. So I worked with a lot of post-rehabilitative clients, people that were coming through and transitioning over from physical therapy to working out again and getting back to health in whatever respect that is for them, and just trying to get them going. And had a good conversation with one of the chiropractors back home who's an alum here, and he just said, this really looks like the perfect fit for everything you do and who you are, and go check it out.
That's pretty awesome. So from an EMT to chiropractic, that's not a change
Yeah.
that many people make. How do you think those two complement or fit in with each other?
I think I grew up skiing and snowboarding, was a big part of ski patrol with my parents, and I call it blood, guts, and gore, but I like acute emergency medicine as well. Really have I love it. So from that, kind of helping people, but having gone through a lot of injuries and accidents myself, kind of beyond just the initial, it's the rehab process to get back to where you want to be or see a progression afterwards. Hey, I fell or hurt myself doing this. What can I do to get back and as fast and effectively as possible to where I want to be in life?
That's awesome. I'm fascinated with that because I have a little bit of advanced training. I have a wilderness first responder certification from Knowles and the Wilderness Medicine Institute.
Very nice.
And I really want to get my wilderness EMT.
Yep.
I'm planning on doing that afterwards. Do you see yourself continuing or keeping that certification up and being a chiropractic EMT?
Absolutely. I took right before I came to school, I was TAing with an EMT course, so I was actually teaching as well. And I basically just need one letter from my MD to go to the state of Massachusetts, and I'll actually be a certified instructor coordinator for EMT basic classes. So
that is pretty cool. Very cool. All right.
So definitely something I'll stick with.
Yeah, that gives me a little more confidence to go ahead and do what I was planning on doing. So thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Brendan, you're in clinic now, right?
Yes, I am. Actually, so I'm still in clinic attire here. My roommate and I just got back from our shift in clinic today.
I'm headed in later today. I started
Nice.
about 2:30 and have a few hours. How has that been different than your regular classes?
I've been telling people clinic is wonderful. The difference from our 7th trimester to our 8th trimester is pretty dramatic, where we go from having a full course load, including preclinical and clinical sciences, and moving now into all practical, all of our time being put into practical experience. And then we have additional classes that we do, mornings and evenings and downtime online. Our clinic that I'm at is actually a few hours away from campus. New York Chiropractic College has 4 clinics on Long Island, at the campus in Seneca Falls, here in Rochester, New York, and then out west in Buffalo, New York.
So you're not living on campus anymore?
Right.
Oh,
I actually just moved out here to Rochester.
You kind of mentioned, so you said that 7th quarter to 8th is a big difference. Do you just completely switch from academic to clinic, or is there a gradual change?
So it's a pretty abrupt switch. 7th trimester does include 6 hours per week in clinic, which is my clinician actually put it as it's sort of like a semester-long orientation to the clinical responsibilities. So you get the workflow of documentation and patient intakes and getting your appointments more efficient and doing examinations and whatnot. And then when you go, and that's all in the student clinic on campus. And then when you go on to 8th trimester, you switch to 22 hours in clinic each week, with the only classes left being online. So they're a lot less demanding than on the ground courses, and we really get to focus on patient care aspect of chiropractic instead.
That's cool. So it's not very different. Right now I'm in my first quarter of being in the clinic, and it's 6 hours a week. But it's very slow for me right now because the campus clinic has some restrictions on who can come to the campus because we're in a residential neighborhood. So it's a little challenging to get patients to come in. Uh, but we also have about 4, maybe 5 clinics, including the campus one, but they're all right here in Portland. So they're all within half hour's drive. So that's cool that you
Seneca
get to
Falls is a
go.
bit of a different setting than Portland, Oregon.
But you get to go.
It's a very small town. Actually, so in our 7th trimester, we exclusively treat students, but each year, students during their 1st and 4th trimester are required to come in and go through a physical, and then most of them will follow up with additional care throughout the rest of the semester after that. And so there's a good patient base for 7th trimester students to work with built into the program there.
That's pretty nice.
Whereas in 8th tri, we see more of the outpatient type of patients.
Right. Yeah. There's a transition that has to be made there. So Seth, you're new and you've probably been into the campus clinic.
Yes.
What's your experience been in there?
Really good. I am all about playing guinea pig for people that are trying to learn. It's absolutely fine by me. We've all been there. So.
You want a new problem? I've got it. I've got so many things I can come in.
Absolutely, I'll do whatever I can to help out, because I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. Is we're going to be there someday, and we want the same from the students coming in.
Good clinic karma.
Absolutely, but it allows them to really take what they've learned and put it to use in a real life setting, where hopefully, as students being younger, we don't have the really serious issues. I don't say that nobody does, but comparatively to what they're going to see outside in the actual setting might be a little bit easier, and it really breaks you into the ebb and flow of a day, how to deal with people, how to deal with different issues. So I've been really happy with all my interns, and I've had to go in. I went in for one acute issue, got somebody else, also fantastic, and I've continued on with my appointments. I know a lot of people come 2nd, 3rd try kind of drop off when we're going through a lot of technique classes and we're adjusting all the time, open adjusting. You might not feel like you need it as much, but it's still important to go back and see somebody that is well beyond where we are in school and have that doctor oversight. The other thing that I've taken advantage of here that's been really good is that with the full acupuncture and Oriental medicine program, I go for acupuncture once a week as well, and my experience there with those interns has been really, really good.
What other programs are there? So you've got the chiropractic, acupuncture. Brendan, I know I saw posts about a sports event.
Yeah, so that's not actually part of one of the programs here, but that was one of the opportunities that we got through the Rochester Clinic. The clinic director built a connection with a local MMA, or mixed martial arts group, around here. And so we were actually out at an external event, and we brought 5 interns and the clinic director, and we set up our tables with the athletic trainers and the MD who was doing medical clearances, and we got to work with all of the athletes. And then later on, as the evening wore on, we invited anybody else who was in there to come, and we actually did full on-the-spot intakes. It was nice. We didn't have to do as much work since the MD was doing medical clearances as well. But we ruled out any more suspicious issues that the patients could have, and then went through and did soft tissue work and adjusting right there at the event. So it was a really cool experience.
That's cool. I'm doing a sports masters, which is a second program that's offered concurrently. And yeah,
NYCC does have a couple of master's programs. They do the 2 that I was most interested in are their nutrition and their master's science in human anatomy and physiology instruction, which essentially sets you up to be an instructor at the collegiate level or otherwise. And so those are both really, really good sounding programs.
I remember looking into that master's an anatomy one. That one looks really interesting because I love anatomy, and one of the reasons I'm doing a master's program is to possibly be able to teach, whether it's at a city college or at a high school. And so that anatomy one was really appealing.
Yeah. you learn to build a curriculum and how to instruct on a one-on-one or massive lecture basis. So it's neat, very neat program.
Seth, are you interested in doing a program other than chiropractic?
Yes. Which one I have not figured out yet. I've been kind of, some of my friends in Upper Tries have been trying to recruit me into the acupuncture and Oriental medicine program, which I'm absolutely interested in, but talk about a heavy extra course load. It's like an extra 5 classes per semester on top, and with that program it does take you a semester or 2 beyond just your regular DC. So once you finish it, you'd still be here for another couple semesters finishing out because it's a 3-year master's program. Clinical nutrition looks fantastic, and I love teaching, as I stated before, and doing the EMT teaching. So going back to do that on some level, I'll absolutely stay in the teaching realm as well. I just don't know if I'll do the master's.
Oh man, I would love to teach. It's so much work. It is so much work to teach.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to share with the people that are watching the video what New York Chiropractic College looks like, because I remember seeing some images and it's just gorgeous. And the website is cool. I've only seen one other school do this. You have a virtual tour.
Mm-hmm.
You guys? Oh, we're gonna turn off this little clip. What's his name? Clippy from the Microsoft.
Oh, jeez.
So, I mean, what do you guys think of the campus?
I think it's gorgeous. I grew up in a small town in Central Mass, and Seneca Falls is actually a little bit bigger, so I'm fairly adept at finding my own fun, per se, off campus, being that it's heavily wooded, and we have the lake that you can see from campus is 40 miles long, and so there's infinite amounts of fishing, and I wakeboard, so for me, I found a buddy who has a boat already in town, so come summertime, as soon as the ice is out, I'm on the water. There's road biking, mountain biking, running, you name it, it's here.
Now, these images make it look absolutely gorgeous in summertime. What's it like right now? I know that the East Coast has been hit by some heavy storms.
Here on campus, I know Brendan's in Rochester, but we've got probably just over a foot of snow on the ground, and it's been in the single digits. And we're supposed to get snow all weekend, maybe accumulating to another 6 inches to a foot by Monday. And I saw snow in the forecast for the next week or so. Again,
Okay.
I love the snow. Doesn't bother me, so whatever.
For those watching online, we're looking inside some of the classrooms right now. What's your favorite building on campus?
Brendan, in all the time you were here,
My favorite building on campus. Probably the best place to hang out is the library. Since I've been here, they did a nice renovation there, and they created a big group study area that's walled off with sound-resistant glass and that kind of thing. And so it's a great place to study. There's a one lone standing desk in the back of the library, and that was sort of my kingdom there. So I really like that.
Is there only one?
But they've gotten some nice upgrades in the past year. Yeah, there's a picture of it.
That's the soundproof study area Brendan was just talking about in the middle of the library.
Okay.
So you can talk and hang out. And
they've been slowly but surely making some nice upgrades. We just got new computer labs in the academic building, and a really nice rehab room for sort of the active care and rehab side of conservative medicine. So that was a really cool addition too.
So here's the cafeteria, and Brendan, I wanted to ask you something, because in a blog post a while back, you mentioned meal plans, and that's not something I've heard of in graduate school. That was definitely for freshmen only at my undergraduate. Is that something that you guys still do? I guess Seth would better answer
That is still
that.
subject to this living on campus. Yeah, their meal plan's mandatory for everyone who's living or who's still attending school at the Seneca Falls campus. If not for meal plans at such a small school, the cafeteria wouldn't be able to continue existing. So actually, right inside the building you're showing now is our cafeteria, and they provide relatively good food.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because I'm hearing rumors, and of course, nothing I say on this podcast is anything that represents University of Western States. But I guess it's difficult for a cafeteria to run. They're having trouble with funding, so
Yeah.
I guess meal plans is one way to get over that.
Yeah, right.
And Seth, you live on campus. There's also on-campus dorms, is that right?
Yes, there are on-campus dorms. Honestly, they're really not that bad to live in. I will probably live out this semester here and move off campus. But the convenience factor is so nice when you do want to study, when you want to go to the gym. I can walk everywhere. I move my car maybe once or twice a week if I want to go into town. So it's really nice in that respect. However, being off campus and having my own kitchen and all would be good. But going back to the meal plans real quick, having it sounds like a pain, it adds into your budget, it adds into your loans. However, come finals, midterms, finals and all, when you don't either have time to go drive 10 minutes into town to get something to eat or you didn't pack anything, thank God I have a meal plan card. I can go get food real quick and I've got money there to utilize.
That would come in handy.
That said, it is exciting. I lived both on and off campus myself. It was still exciting to move off campus and have a kitchen of my own. If you're living off campus and attending school still in Seneca Falls, then you still end up with a meal plan. But having the ability to cook for myself in addition to that was definitely nice.
Well, in the dorms, do you have a fridge or even a minimal kitchen? Do you have anything?
Oh yeah, I have a mini fridge in my room. We have one communally. We live in suites, and so I have just two other roommates right now. We all have our own room. We have a little community area, and then there is a pretty good-sized community kitchen downstairs. So you do have to travel downstairs to go and cook. But there's 2 stoves, 2 ovens, and plenty of stuff to work with. I enjoy cooking,
cool.
so it's nice to be able to go down there.
Yeah, that is good.
The other nice thing about moving off campus is that the actual housing opportunities in Seneca Falls are relatively cheap, at least compared to where I went to undergrad. And also you get the option of either living in downtown Seneca Falls, which isn't like a bustling downtown. It's a small town still, but I lived right by a park by the Cayuga Seneca Canal, which is a branch of the old Erie Canal.
Cool.
So it was a really beautiful place to live. I eventually found my way around and learned the trails for running, and we actually got a big trail project started along the old railroad bed that parallels the canal. So there's some cool things available there. And the other big place that people live is right down on Cayuga Lake, which is a gorgeous place. Everybody's apartments face east, so they post pictures of gorgeous sunrises, at least those of them who are motivated enough to be up at sunrise. So there's some cool places to live.
Well, you're about as far north as I am, I think, so some mornings you can't help being up during the sunrise, right?
Right.
During the winter. Oh, man. Well, you're in clinic now and you're putting your skills to use. What techniques do you learn at New York College of Chiropractic?
So instead of learning at NYCC, instead of learning by technique system, we sort of learn things more regionally. So we'll have a class that's primarily dedicated to thoracic adjusting, and so you'll get components from all of the different technique systems. And then the next semester is lumbar, the next semester is cervical, and then there are extremities adjusting classes, and then you get sort of into more like integrating them clinically in the later trimesters. So we identify by diversified.
Okay.
It's pretty quintessentially the technique. Well, it's not really a system. It's a combination of all of the different technique systems out there. But we learn components from SOT, from upper cervical, from their electives in activator. So there's a good variety, and sort of by the time that you get now that I'm in clinic, I find that regardless of whether a person prefers being adjusted laying down on the table, seated in a chair, standing, if it's one of the if it's out at one of the outreach events that we do, regardless of the situation, I've got some adjustment that's going to fit that situation that I'm going to be able to do there. So that's a pretty cool advantage.
Yeah, it looks like you have learned flexion distraction as well.
Yep, correct.
So on the webpage, on the virtual tour, here's one of the adjusting rooms, and look who it is.
Oh, I didn't even know I was on there.
Oh, you're on here, yeah. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Seth, what so far, I know you're still early in, but what has been the best experience that you've had so far?
I think I met Brendan pretty early on because I got trounced on by the SACA leadership from day one. Well, our whole class did in coming in, and got recruited to go down to Virginia to foot levelers with school to go to the leadership conference back in the fall, and I thought that was really, really fantastic. And just for the fact that it kind of, if you're uncomfortable coming in, you kind of don't know, you get to meet a lot of people, you get to meet upper tri students, and it puts you in a group of really, really good people that become your friends, and as they move along, like Brendan has become a friend of mine, and he's in his last year, which means now I'm going to have a really good connection going out. I got to meet some fantastic doctors. Just all these phenomenal people come together, as well as you get to obviously listen to some really good speakers. They give ideas about what life is on the other side of school, and it gives you perspective not to lose sight of that, because when you get bogged down in the trenches of class after class and test after test, you sometimes lose sight of where you're supposed to be at the end of this, and that can't lose sight of that.
How close is foot levelers to you guys?
Oh, it was a 9-hour drive.
Oh, okay, it's not close then.
Yeah, no.
But NYCC seems to have a pretty good relationship with some of these companies. Foot Levelers, Standard Process. I saw the fitness center is branded Standard Process.
Yeah.
And Brendan, I know you've been connecting with a lot of those companies as well, with SACA, with NCLC.
Mm-hmm.
How does that relationship help you guys?
Let's see. So both of those companies obviously are really well integrated into the whole environment of chiropractic in America. So they are constantly emphasizing that they want to give back to students. And I was actually just about to write a column about this earlier, how everybody always asks, how can I help students? And so those companies, they do it through education, which has the added benefit for them of self-promotion, and through donating to the schools. I know a few of the different schools have buildings that are named after one of those two companies and others. We don't see them so much like in the classroom setting. It's not like they come up an awful lot. There are a couple of classes that we have a Whole Foods nutrition class, and so since Standard Process is a Whole Foods supplement company, they sort of fit into that conversation. And then we also have a class that's oriented towards fitting foot orthotics, and so they work in that elective closely with foot levelers and learning the sort of the systems there. But there's other than that, they're not particularly obtrusive, I guess.
That's cool. Yeah, we've been chatting back and forth about being able to go to all these events, and you said that what makes it easy for you is you're so much closer, and it's true. You guys have
Yeah.
a lot going on the East Coast that you can go to. The Olympic game or the Cairo Games that you were at a few months back.
Yeah, Cairo Games was a really fun event. That is essentially the sole source of chiropractic intercollegiate competition, and it's so we all travel down to Cocoa Beach, Florida. Representatives of different sports from all of the different chiropractic colleges, and I actually competed this year in running. We also had a pretty solid showing, in basketball, in soccer. There is flag football, golf, swimming. There's a really table tennis. There's a really wide variety, essentially. And so NYCC brought about 70 students down this year, which isn't even the largest delegation. There's pretty good representation from some of the other schools. It was just so much fun to be able to be with other chiropractic students, and is always great. And like you said, I've participated in the Student Leadership Conference, the National Chiropractic Legislative Conference, but to be in a sort of a non-chiropractic setting where all of us are competing and interacting in just the other things that we're interested in. It sort of brings out the humanity, the collegiality of our fellow chiropractic students. It was a lot of fun, essentially, and a really heartening experience to see how well all of the different schools were able to just hang out together.
Yeah, I had an experience like that going down to the Dominican Republic and Haiti on a chiropractic humanitarian mission trip. And it was great to hang out with people from Palmer, from Life University, from Life West, Palmer West. There were people even from one of the European schools, I think. Yeah, it's great to get together with other students and find out what's going on kind of outside of that small school, that little bubble that we live in every day of our lives.
Yeah, definitely.
By the way, great article in the ACA magazine.
Thanks.
About the Chiro. People should check that out. I think any SACA members should be getting that magazine, and it's a little towards the back. I think it should be pushed up front. But yeah, great write-up on Cairo Games.
Thanks, Nathan.
Well, let's start wrapping it up here. But NYCC has always been one of those schools that I only heard about a bit. In the stuff I heard was just so impressive, and the landscaping there, the campus was beautiful. It's also, touts its evidence-based curriculum. But I want to know what, if anything, what is one thing that you would change? Let's start with Brendan, since you've been there a bit longer.
Ooh, one thing that I would change. All right, so New York is really entrenched in legalities and how it's always been done. Being from New Hampshire, I moved here, and I always say I've never heard the word liability spoken in so many different contexts since I've been in New York. So everything here is run in a super conservative manner. And so I don't see very many risks being taken, whether that's outreach into the community, whether that's hosting external events on campus. I would love to see more of that sort of community integration and hear less of the word liability.
Seth, what's one thing that you would like to see changed? Wow, I don't even know if I'm able to speak on that front yet, having not seen everything. One thing I would change.
Has your experience been 100% perfect so far?
Oh, absolutely not. But I mean, whether those things go so far as I would have to change them immediately. There are certain things you kind of you just deal with it and you go along with it. Things that I can change. Basically, where Brendan's coming from, I think, is that yeah, we are in some respects, especially living on campus or being on campus, some of student life can be a little overbearing I think, and they are very, very worried about maintaining that sense of safety and liability, which is valid in some case. But as adults and people in doctoral programs, again, we're adults. There should be we should be able to speak our minds back and try and come up to a collective, reasonable measure as opposed to being dictated down to.
It's definitely a theme that comes up throughout the other schools. In my work in SACA, I've obviously networked with a lot of the more involved students on all different campuses, and we're constantly brainstorming together on, so what sort of things have you guys done on your campus that worked, that got people's attention, that that went smoothly with the administration? Like, how can we communicate this better and make this easier to digest for those who've been doing this for a long time? And so it's sort of a, by the time you have it, by the time you feel it all out, you're graduating. So that's sort of the nature of college in general.
I hear what you guys are saying, because I look at the other schools, especially like Life West, and they've got the WAVE conference, which is this huge conference they put on, talent shows and bands, and maybe it's not officially sponsored by the school, but that type of thing is happening at other schools, and you just don't see that type of outreach. And we have a kind of a coalition and alliance, Student Alliance for Integrative Medicine in Portland, because there's a school for medicine, chiropractic, naturopathy, Oriental medicine, acupuncture. There's all of these healthcare professional schools, and we come together. And speaking with them, they go out to elementary schools and they teach kids about nutrition. They bring families onto campus to teach them how to cook healthy meals. And I don't see that type of outreach.
Yes, that's gorgeous. We get to do a little bit of that now that we're in clinic, but I love hearing that kind of thing. It's got that public health impact. It's got that community building aspect of it, and that's totally what I envision myself centering my practice around.
Because we hear a lot about chiropractors doing lay lectures, and
yeah,
it's great to practice that now and get out there, and whether it's at a school or even at neighborhood meetings, just talk about what is chiropractic, how can it benefit you. That'd be great. So I love what you guys are talking about and how you're trying to make that work with the other schools in SACA.
Definitely. I think real quick, in just the short time I've been here, again, I've traveled around a lot, met a lot of people, so immediately upon getting on campus, I tried to get within the local community as well and meet people. And I think that there is kind of a stigma here in Seneca Falls, just because it's such a small area, like, oh, that's the chiropractic school. And we've been told from this perspective, like, that's town, be careful, stay away from the locals. It's like, no, if you want to stop this quiet little wall being built, you really need to get out there and utilize the people who are in clinic, like at Brendan's stage, to get out into the community and not necessarily recruit patients, but educate the townsfolk and get them to come this way, venture in to see what it's like. Being at the gym, there are some community members that do come to the gym, but I think that could be taken to a whole new level in allowing the students to really access the community.
That's cool. So your gym is open to the community?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I know, and it definitely has to be, I think as Brendan kind of mentioned, it's got to go smoothly with administration, and they need to be involved at least a bit, because I've heard these apocryphal stories about student clinicians or student interns that literally went door to door in our neighborhood, knocking on doors trying to get patients to come in, and they got a complaint, and that's kind of when the whole restriction on the campus health center set in. So you don't want to go out and do it on your own, but it's something we need to do more outreach, and I'm hopeful that that's going to be put into place a little more often. Well, let's talk about our tick picks of this episode. We like to share something that we've come across in our internet browsing or conferences we've been to that other students can take a look at. Brendan, can you start us off with a?
So I'm gonna go pretty light material here, but I'm just gonna introduce you to the band that I have been listening to on loop lately. It's Jungle, and this is their debut album. They're an English band, and I caught them at a big concert in Buffalo, New York, in December. And first of all, their live show was fantastic. But second of all, their album makes really good study music. It's just got sort of this laid-back vibe to it that fits well in the background of like some intense studying or work time. So that's good recommendation right there. Go look them up.
So what kind of music do you like for studying? Because I've done research and everything on this, and are there lyrics? Is it classical? Is it...
I'm not picky. I'm a music person. There's not much that I did undergraduate. In undergrad, I was a college radio host, and so I just like good music. Definitely for studying, I try to avoid the louder, super energetic stuff that's going to be more distracting. But I don't try to limit myself to particular any particular genre or feel.
All right, it's available on iTunes and on Amazon. You can buy the old school CD if you like to do that kind of thing still, or you can download the digital. And actually, talk about old school. They've got a vinyl version that you can buy. Oh my gosh!
Nice.
Hey, it's coming back.
This has got to be some kind of indie band. That is so cool. All right, well, my pick of this episode is a book called The Reality Check, and this is by Heidi Havik, who is, I believe she's Norwegian, or maybe, yeah, I think she's Norwegian or from Denmark. I can't remember, but she...
Some variety of Scandinavian.
Yeah,
exactly.
some Scandinavian. And she's in New Zealand, though. She's at the New Zealand College of Chiropractic, which I've interviewed in previous episodes. And this is a really good summary of the research on chiropractic, specifically on vertebral subluxation, although she is open to not using that term. So this book can be read by any chiropractor, whether they're subluxation focused or not. And I've been interested in functional neurology, which is kind of an up-and-coming diplomate or certification that you can get in chiropractic as well as other professions. And it's all very similar, and I'm trying to piece together how much, or I guess how identical her research is to functional neurology. But basically it's the idea that when we adjust, it changes input to the central nervous system, which can therefore affect pain as well as possibly visceral function. It's only available in New Zealand, I think, and it's $35, which is a little bit pricey for a student. I need to get in touch with her and see if she can do an ebook, and I will make it for her. So Heidi, if you happen to hear this, but I kind of came up with a little trick that I think will work for other students as well, and that is this: go to your library and say, "Here's an interesting book. Maybe we should have it." And within an hour, I got an email back from our head librarian and said, "That's an excellent suggestion. I just ordered it. I'll let you know when it comes in." So I've got the book. I'm reading the book. I'm almost done with it. It's easy to read, at least one, maybe two chapters a day within 20 minutes. And so it's a really easy read. Again, it's in lay terms. She uses some scientific lingo as well, but I haven't got to the end of it, so I'm still a bit skeptical, as I tend to be. But it's been a really good read, and I recommend people to read it, even if you're not on the bandwagon. Her research has been kind of highlighted by subluxation-focused chiropractors, I guess you could say, as this cutting-edge stuff. And it may be, it may not be, but it's worth the read for anyone. So check that out. We'll have a link in the show notes. Seth, you've got a book to share as well.
Yeah, the book that actually, again, just going back to one of the conference that I went to as far as the SACA Leadership Conference goes, is the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. There it is, Nathan got it up on the screen. And for me, it's not that it's always about leadership, leadership, leadership. I need to be in charge of something. But again, being the practitioners that we're going to be in the real world really gives you some insight in how to deal with people and, you know, work with people. If we really want to be wellness minded and we're going to see such a variety of people, we can't close down the ideas of how to deal with multiple groups or multiple mindsets. So it really just kind of gives you a play with how to set yourself up to succeed, really, as far as I'm concerned.
Very
Ideas
cool.
and way to conduct yourselves in business and life in general.
For me, that's the scariest thing, is the idea of I have to be a businessman as well. So
Yeah.
this type of stuff is always helpful. And it's available on Amazon under Kindle, hardcover, paperback, MP3. I wonder if it's available on my favorite, Audible, which is the audio download. That's what I like to look at. Well, cool. And that was a gift from SACA, from the SACA meeting?
It was the people who came and were the keynote speakers at the Foot Levelers conference actually brought signed copies by the author for everybody that was in attendance. So it was a free book, and I've taken advantage of it.
Wow, that is pretty awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on Exploring Chiropractic and talking about New York Chiropractic College.
Thank you.
Again, it's a school that I don't hear much about, but I'm kind of intrigued with. And I think now I would put it up on my maybe top 3 list of schools to attend. Now that I'm
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, and I know it's number 1 for you guys, which is great. Well, where can guys find you? Seth, are you big on social media? Do you
I have my Facebook page, just Seth Wittrall.
That's about it. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm on Instagram too.
Do you Instagram your adjusting classes? Maybe you're not in adjusting yet, are you?
No, we are actually. We've been hands-on since Try 1 with palpation, and we've actually just started adjusting now in Try 2.
Oh, that's excellent. We do
Mhm.
palpation for quarters 1 and 2, so that's good that in second term you guys already start adjusting. What region do you start with?
We've just started in thoracics. We will move to, I forget whether it's lumbar first, then cervicals, or cervical lumbar, but that'll be the progression through the rest of the trimester.
Okay. Brendan, you're big on social media, both personally with your Hands in Training blog, as well as running the social media for SACA. Is that what you're still involved with?
Yeah, I actually passed over the social media on SACA. It's been moving up the ladder there, and but yeah, that's still good to follow. Student ACA is the Twitter handle, or you can find it on Facebook. Student American Chiropractic Association, and then my blog. I just write about the student experience of being in chiropractic college, and the blog is handsintraining.wordpress.com. And I'm also on Twitter and Facebook with that, so you can find me pretty much anywhere you look.
And you do an excellent job. That was
Thanks.
kind of my goal when I started, was to write a weekly, no, not going to happen, a monthly, wait, okay, maybe a quarterly, no, even that doesn't happen. A blog post.
As a student, it sort of happens when you can make it happen.
Right, and you're doing such a good job, and now it's way too late for me, but with podcasting becoming so big now. I don't know if you guys listen to many podcasts. Have you heard of Serial?
Oh, I did. I listened to the whole. I live out here. I'm 9 hours from my home in New Hampshire, and so on my drive home, my sister, after we went to that concert, got me listening to Serial. Very cool.
Serial, and now Invisibilia from NPR is the most downloaded podcast ever. And it's a new type, because most podcasts are interviews like this, but they're actually producing it. And it started me thinking, oh my gosh, how cool would it be to chronicle the life of a chiropractic student from day 1?
That'd be very cool.
Clinic. Wouldn't that be crazy awesome? So we need to find
a lot of fun.
You'll just have to go into practice somewhere near a school.
Yeah.
It might happen. It might happen. I might get stuck here in Portland. So
Not a bad place to get stuck.
No.
It's not.
I'll get some good friends out there. I might come out and visit you.
Yeah, definitely do it. Let me know if you're coming out. We can I can set up a little tour, take you to Voodoo Donuts.
Perfect.
Some of the
I just made a new friend in another part of the country.
There we go. And I was going to mention, Brendan, I think our trails might be a little bit better than the ones you built in New York. Let's do some Instagram comparison. You take some images of the trails that you run. All right.
I'm just gonna have to get a sunrise picture on Lake Ontario now that I'm living up here in Rochester.
We don't.
Yeah.
You're right. We don't have lakes, but I do have the gorge, and I've got Mount St. Helens and Mount Hood from campus.
All right, I can't match your volcanoes, but you can't beat Ithaca, New York for gorges.
That is okay. I want to see them. I want to see your Instagrams of the gorge.
All right.
It'll be great.
Battle of the Instagrams. Bring it on.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Everybody, you can listen to Exploring Chiropractic on the YouTube channel or on iTunes or anywhere else that podcasts can be found, including Stitcher. You can follow on Twitter at Exploring Chiropractic and look for the Exploring Chiropractic Facebook page. And I'm Nathan Cashin. You can follow me on Twitter at Nathan Cashin. That is Cashion, just like fashion, but with a C. Thanks again for tuning in and learning a little bit about New York Chiropractic College. See you guys later.
Thanks, Nathan. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Nathan.